In this video, I'm gonna show you how to turn your engine bay from looking like this to looking like this for only a few R100 and a free Saturday afternoon. I'm gonna show you every tool and chemical that you're going to need by showing you practically how to clean every nook and cranny of your engine by cleaning my engine on my E90 that you guys should be familiar with by now. Without further ado, let's get started with what you need in order to clean your engine. So the first thing that you need is heavy duty all-purpose cleaner. This can be an all-purpose cleaner of your choice. If you know of like a really heavy duty, good quality all-purpose cleaner that you normally use, then use that one. But what I would recommend, if maybe you don't know what to use already, is either SDR heavy duty cleaner or Blixum engine cleaner. I use Blixum in this case because I couldn't find SDR, but either of the two works. This is my first time using Blixum, but it's a really good quality product. It got me the results that I was looking for. What a heavy duty cleaner does is it dissolves a lot of the oils and caked on dirt that you find in your engine bay, so that you don't have to agitate as much physically with the brush or something like that. It basically just dissolves everything, kind of like after you burn pulp, you just put water in it, let it soak a little bit so that it gets softer, so it's cleaner for you to wash. Kind of the same principle here. A heavy duty cleaner basically makes everything so much easier for you. Number two on the list of what you need is brushes. I am a mobile detailer, so of course I have a lot of detailing brushes. I have a wheel face brush, a wheel barrel brush, and a detailing brush, like a small detailing brush, which are the three brushes that I used on this engine cleaner as you're about to see. But yeah, what I would recommend for you guys in terms of brushes is like a large surface area brush, like the wheel brush that I'm using here. Something a bit thinner and longer so that you can get in those hard to reach areas. And that's about it. Honestly, you don't really need the detailing brush unless you're wanting to get into like every single nook and cranny. All you need is just a big brush to cover as much surface area as possible and a smaller brush to get in the nook and crannies. But I think brushes are things that we have laying around. It's not something that you need to go and buy. Just use whatever brushes are at your disposal. Make sure they're not too hard, that they're not scratching your plastics or anything like that. But you should have a few brushes laying around the house that you can use. Right then, so after cleaning all of the plastics in your engine bay, you're going to need something to coat them with. Think about it as kind of like skin. When you wash your skin, because of the heat of the water and the soap and stuff like that, your pores open up, and then afterwards you seal those pores using your moisturizer or whatever you use. I'm not really big into skincare, but I think you're getting the metaphor that I'm going for here. So basically you need a conditioner to kind of protect the plastics that you have now made more exposed. I don't know if that makes sense. By cleaning the plastics and by using something like a heavy duty all-purpose cleaner, you are kind of opening those pores up, and you need something to seal them off so that dirt doesn't get into them, and so that you don't end up with like plastics that end up whitening over time and they're scratching more easily and stuff like that. Kind of like a protective layer over your plastics that not only makes them look good but also protects them in the long run. For something like this, I use silicone from Shield, a Shield silicone exterior detailer, but any plastics restorer, plastic conditioner that you know of can work perfectly. Next up is a vacuum cleaner. Once again, something that's optional, but if you have it, which you should have if you have a car, but if you have a vacuum cleaner, it's something really nice to use before you go in with any liquid, just to get a lot of loose dirt and leaves and debris and stuff like that off the engine before you put any liquids on it, just to make your life a bit easier when it comes to brushing everything down and stuff like that. Next up is a pressure washer. This is obvious in order to rinse everything once you finish washing it, but if you don't have a pressure washer, once again you can use your hose pipe. Another tip with a pressure washer is just make sure that you're not pointing it directly at your electronics. If your battery is in the front, mine is not, it's in the boot, but if your battery is in the front in the engine bay, you don't want to be spraying water directly onto your battery. That's just generally a bad idea. Just don't do that. But yeah, you want to make sure that you're not pointing pressurized water at sensitive areas like fuse boxes, your alternator, your battery, like I already said. When it comes to rinsing this kind of part, you either want to use low pressure or you can use high pressure, but like very low exposure, like just brushing over it. You don't have a pressure washer, once again, you can just use your water hose. Water hose, I wouldn't say is preferable, but it's nice in that you don't damage all of your electronics because the water is not that pressurized. It's not pressurized at all. But yeah, either one of the two should work perfectly. Next up, you just need normal car shampoo. You'll see why as we go on with the video. But your car shampoo that you use to normally wash your car and stuff like that, that's another thing that you will need. And last but not least is a microfiber towel or two for just drying everything and applying your sealant after you're done washing. Right then, now that you are up to speed with everything that you need in order to start your engine wash, let's actually go out and get into starting to wash the Beamer's engine. So the first thing you're going to do is just start by vacuuming the entire engine bay. Now my engine is really not that dirty. It never has been and it probably never will be. I take very good care of my car, but if you live maybe, and this is not a repair, I'm not saying if your engine bay is dirty you're not taking care of your car. No, I'm just saying I never have dirty engine bays is what I'm saying. But if you live in like a really dusty area, or you normally park your car under something like a tree or something like that where there's a lot of just leaves getting into your engine bay and stuff like that, it is valuable to start by vacuuming all that type of stuff up. This is just heavier debris that you can move with your vacuum. You're not going to be vacuuming up dust from your engine bay using a vacuum cleaner. That's just not possible. All of those big loose debris, maybe collections of stones here and there, leaves, stuff like that, just making sure that you're getting all that out with the vacuum and preparing for the next step ahead. This just makes everything easier for you going forward. But if you're like me and those kinds of things like leaves and loose debris don't affect you that much, and you're just looking to get your engine looking a bit better than it already does, then you can just skip this step and just continue with what I'll be discussing after this. Also, something that I forgot to mention, make sure your car is cool when you're washing it. You don't want to be coming back from town, pop your bonnet open and start washing your engine. Just don't do that. It's just bad for a whole bunch of reasons that I don't have the time nor patience to list right now. But just make sure you don't do that. Make sure you're either just cold starting it and just moving it to where you're going to be washing it, or if you've been on a trip with it, let it cool for a few hours, making sure that it's cool to the touch. I don't want to be responsible for people getting third-degree burns because the hot piece of metal turns out is in fact very hot. So just make sure you cool your engine sufficiently before going ahead and cleaning it. But yeah, moving on to the next step. Now you're going to coat every single nook and cranny of your engine with our heavy purpose cleaner. The purpose of this, like I said, is to break down a lot of those oils that can form, a lot of that baked on dirt and grime that can, for some of you guys, be there for years of your engine being in operation and never being washed. So just making sure you coat it sufficiently, as you see me doing here. I'm really being liberal with my application of it because at the end of the day, I'm looking to make the next steps after this, which is going to be the hand wash. I'm looking to make it as simple as possible, and a way of doing that, the simplest way of doing that, is just by making sure that every piece of the engine is covered in this engine cleaner. It just makes your life way simpler. I'm not gonna preach on this forever, but I just want to emphasize the importance of making sure that everything in the engine is covered in this engine cleaner. And then after you've done applying it everywhere, you just let it soak in there for maybe 10-15 minutes. Just give it a chance to just eat away, add a lot of that dirt and grime. And then it comes back again to letting your engine cool down. If your engine was hot and now you've applied a liquid on top of that, the liquid, it's just going to evaporate, causing a lot of staining on your engine, number one. And number two, not giving it enough time to eat away at all of the oils and all the stuff that you want gone from your engine. So yeah, just apply it everywhere and let it soak. Right, so after you let the engine soak, after however many minutes you determine to be right, I recommend 15 to 20 roundabouts. This is where we're gonna come in with our physical wash. And then you're gonna want to use this bucket of water and your brushes to brush basically every part of the engine that you can see and every part of the engine that you can access somehow with one of those brushes. You don't want to leave any surface unbrushed. Make sure you are as thorough as possible with your brushing, because you don't want to be finished with your wash, be drying your engine, and there's just like a blob of dirt there because you were a bit too lazy and not as thorough as you should have been. Make sure that you do it right and you do it right the first time. Be as thorough as possible with your brushes. You can see me doing it here. I'm making sure every nook and cranny that I can reach with the brush, I am reaching with the brush. Make sure to be really thorough in this step. It's really important to your final finish, and it's really important to you just having a clean engine in general. And by touching surfaces with the brush, I don't mean just like a quick 1-2 then you move on. Make sure you are actually brushing each and every surface. This is the step that I think took me the longest time, because I do suspect I am on the spectrum a little bit. I can be hyper focused on something for too long, for an unhealthy amount of time sometimes. But yeah, you want to make sure that you're paying careful attention to every single detail. You're brushing everything that you can brush, so that when you're coming back and you're spraying everything off, you're leaving it as clean as possible. After everything has been washed and you've made sure that you've washed everything, you're going to come in with either your pressure washer or your hose, like I said, and you're going to spray everything down. Like I said, once again, be careful with the electronics. Don't point the thing directly at your battery. That's not going to turn into a good day for you or your car. So make sure you don't do that. But yeah, really thoroughly rinsing everything off. You don't want soap settling up anywhere, drying anywhere, causing spots and just causing more nonsense than what was already on the engine to begin with. Make sure you rinse as thoroughly as possible without putting any of your electronics in any danger. If you do feel like your electronics could be damaged potentially, although there's very small chances, because an engine, if you think about it, is designed to have like a small amount of water in it. The engine compartment at least is, because if you think about it, if you're driving in the rain and stuff like that, the engine compartment in your car is normally not like sealed, and if it's heavy rain, a lot of water can get in your engine compartment. It's designed to deal with that. But if you're baptizing your alternator, what do you expect to happen? Obviously nothing good is gonna come out of that, so make sure that you're as careful as possible. And you can make sure that you're as careful as possible by wrapping all of these sensitive electronics in some kind of plastic, just to make sure they don't get a lot of water on them, like your battery, everything I've listed before, and a few other things that you should know about your car that are like sensitive electronics that shouldn't really be messed with. That's where you want to avoid pointing your water directly at for extended amounts of time. Right, then the final step is wiping everything down and coating every single plastic with your restorer or conditioner or whatever you decided to use here. Again, like I said, here I'm using Shield silicone coat, and yes, while it might look delicious, it also serves a purpose. Like I said, it's protecting every single plastic that I'm touching with it. So that's how you have to think about it. It's just be as thorough as possible with this step. Maybe you're at a point where you're selling your car, you open up your engine compartment and it looks like the engine compartment of a 1986 Toyota Hilux, you know, all white plastics, just dust everywhere, a mess. Make sure you apply your restorer as thoroughly as possible so that you not only have the best finish but the best protection for your engine bay moving forward. And that is the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys for the recent support I've been getting on my videos. I am trying to upload more frequently. I am trying to stick to a 3-day uploading schedule because my time is a bit freed up now because I'm not in school once again, like I said in episode 16. Once again, this is not the video where I'll discuss that. I'll discuss that in a later video. But yeah, I'm going to be trying to upload as much content as possible, and I am eternally grateful for the support I've been getting so far. But yeah, that's it for this one.